Welcome to the campus of Providence Day School. I'm Charlie Hitt, joined by Josh Springer and Coach Springer. The opening night game for the Providence Day Chargers, taking on Trinity Christian. What are you looking for tonight?
Charlie, great to be with you. It's like Christmas Day for Coach Greer and all of Charger Nation. 80 and sunny Friday night. The Queen City's here. Let's have some fun.
Let's do it. This is the first game, like I mentioned, for Providence Day, and the first game where junior quarterback Zaid Lott is going to have the whole handle of the offense taken over for Jaden Davis off to Michigan. Opening kickoff by Jacob Baggett through the back of the end zone, and Trinity Christian will be on offense to start the game. Senior Wake Forest commit Elijah Olkey will come out onto the field. Trinity Christian 10-2 last year.
And Coach Greer talked all week about wanting to start with a really quality opponent. How do you do that? You get an in-state competitor who played for a state championship last year. Unlike the Chargers, the Crusaders lost the state championship last year, but I know they're going to be tested tonight at home.
Well, they sure will. I mentioned Elijah Olkey. Fonzie Smith out wide as well. UNC Charlotte commit, plays both sides of the ball. Well, a little bit of a delay in the opening. Looks like we're good to go. Here's Olkey. You see big David Sanders looming on the other side. Handoff. Nothing there for number 23, Amir Jackson, the junior running back. Well, Coach Greer was very complimentary about his defensive line. Griff Galloway returning the leading sack man for the Providence Day Chargers last year. He's only a sophomore now. Of course, David Sanders and Leo Delaney, along with Miles Funderburk on that D-line.
Yeah, Charlie Miles made an incredible play on that first down rush. And guess what? It's easy to get great penetration when you're squatting 555, like Coach Greer told us this week, and he blew up the play for a 2-yard loss.
Olkey rolling right, takes off with it, tries to make a move. Nothing much there. Maybe about 5 yards.
We're so used to that number 7 jersey for the Chargers being worn by Channing Goodwin, and obviously
sure
he's
are.
off at Michigan now after his 15 touchdowns for us. And new number Quentin McCray now rocking number 7 this year, got the tackle credit.
Well, you said it, Quentin McCray. One of these guys that Providence Day is going to look towards to step up on the defense. Here's 3rd down and 5 for the Crusaders. 10-2, like you said, state championship runner-up last year. Fake handoff, looks left, and I do not think he got the first down. It looks like number 4 Trey Herbert there, and it's going to bring up an early 4th down for the Crusaders. They keeping their offense out here?
That would be a bold move to say the least early on.
Sure would. Well, it looked like they were thinking about it for a second, but they're going to elect to bring out that punt team.
Charlie, they remembered this isn't EA College Football 25 here, and then they remembered, we'll kick it. Live to fight another possession.
Don't let the opening game adrenaline get to you. First drive of the game. Fair catch called by Providence Day. That looks like number 22. Pardon me, number 28, Cam Ray, was the punt returner, and this is going to be the first drive for Zaid Lott and this brand new offense coming out onto the field for the Chargers. Great ball position up at the 49-yard line.
Well, and I can't imagine how excited Zaid Lott is. This is a guy who has patiently sat for 2 years, oh, by the way, behind the best quarterback in North Carolina in Jaden Davis, and he had 26 total passes a year ago. He's going to go for more than that tonight, Charlie.
Well, he sure will. Completed 21 of those 26 passes last season. Small sample size, but he performed very well. Here's Lott. Steele Fletcher in motion. Lott drops back, plenty of time, heaves it downfield. Sellers makes the grab, and Gordon Sellers is going to be down inside the 5-yard line. What a way to start off this season for Zaid Lott, Gordon Sellers, and this Providence Day offense.
A surprise to nobody if you follow Coach Greer and his offensive play calling. He's going to chuck it, chuck it again, and no surprise at all, they go deep right off the bat.
What a gutsy call by Coach Greer. This fast-paced offense is going to get it for 1st and goal. Flag. It looked like maybe a false start by Providence Day. A little bit too excited there.
Well, Sellers is option number 1 for the Chargers this year. Top 120 player nationally, I believe. You probably know those I's and T's better than I, but there's no doubt he's going to be the number 1 option now with the electric Channing Goodwin and also, Jordan Shipp gone on to their college careers.
Well, he is a top 100 recruit. According to ESPN, number 117 player in the nation. Very impressive, over 500 yards last season. The Chargers backed up to the 6-yard line now. Handoff left side. That looks like Cam Ray down to the 1 where they just were before that penalty.
Cam Ray's a heck of a multi-sport athlete for the Chargers, has brought home multiple state titles on the track in the spring for Charger Nation the last couple years.
Fast-paced offense. Fumble. Oh, no, you do not like to see that if you're Providence Day. Cam Ray coughs it up there, and it's going to be Crusader ball inside their own 10-yard line, and this defense comes right back onto the field.
Yeah, Charlie, unfortunately, we all know Ian Klein's going to be the bell cow for the Chargers. 24 touchdowns a year ago, nursing a mild ankle injury this week. And so Cam Ray gets the start, and the first carry goes for 6 yards, and you can see those eyes are as big as saucers as I'm going to score my first touchdown. And, oh no, unfortunately, we dropped it there inside the 5.
Not an ideal start for the run game. Although, what a throw by Zaid on that opening play. As Olkey and this Crusader offense is going to get another shot at it. Trips to the right. And we are stopped once again. And it looks like that penalty. Well, we got the umpires walking up and down the field. Backed up to the 3.5-yard line now.
Well, Charlie, we know week 1's exciting, but here's what we also know about week 1. It's full of laundry. Everybody's been playing in shorts all summer. We've been hitting each other, and now there's excitement, there's nerves, there's goosebumps. Don't be surprised if we see 20 penalties on the field tonight. The execution isn't quite there for either side. Timing can be a little off.
Olkey looking left, launches it, incomplete. Cairo Skanes on the coverage. That'll be 2nd and 13. A little bit off on the pass there by Olkey.
I'll just say, if I'm Olkey, I would be really, really careful throwing at Cairo Skanes. Last year, first game out at Bank of America Stadium, I believe he had 3 picks in that opening game and 6 on the season for the Chargers. Be careful, because there's a great chance it's going to go back to the house when you test him.
And he is good. 6 interceptions, like you said, on the season. 83 tackles for the captain of this Providence Day defense. Olkey looking for somewhere to go. Launches it deep downfield. No signal yet. Ball got kicked out of the hands of one of those players, and that looks like a catch. How about that? Number 4, Trey Herbert. What a reception there. That'll put them up near midfield.
Great play for Trinity Christian. When you go on the road, you go into a daunting environment like Providence Day, top 50 national team you're going against. You just want to weather the storm early. And a huge play for the visitors to get some momentum almost out to the midfield stripe.
At the 45-yard line, Olkey and number 21, Malik Bundage in the backfield there. Handoff right side. Pardon, that's number 23 for Trinity Christian. It's Amir Jackson, starting running back today. About a 3-yard gain there on first down. It'll leave them with 2nd and 7 at their own 48-yard line. And man, we've seen a couple of deep shots by each of these quarterbacks. I mean, what an impressive way to start the game.
Well, look at Trinity Christian here. 4 wide receivers. Providence Day lined up 4 wide receivers. We're going to have 100 pass attempts. And just to prove me wrong, they go quarterback run here, sweeping out to the right.
Bob would snap. That looks like a design run. Oki has some sneaky athleticism. It'll be a gain of about 4. And it will leave Trinity Christian with a 3rd down and 3 up near midfield. Four receivers out wide. Oki and Jackson in the backfield. This Providence Day defense playing safe. Blitz from the left corner. Oki can't find somewhere to go. Funderburg chasing him. Oki launches it incomplete. Zayden Watson was there, but he tried to come back to the football a little bit too late. And a lucky break for Providence Day.
I agree, Charlie. That was a lucky break. Watson was wide open, and he just slipped. He should have gone with the 5-ace cleats instead of the 3-ace cleats, and they would have had a nice 20-yard gain. Instead, looks like they'll be punting, or at least lining up in punt formation to give it back to the Chargers.
Well, you said it, missed opportunities. We mentioned earlier, opening game of the season, so there will be a lot of mistakes. And the Crusaders do elect to punt. Jalen Himes back there to receive. Bounces out of bounds. Up around the 20, 25-yard line. Zaid Lott, Gordon Sellers, Kendra Harrison in this Providence Day offense. We'll get another shot at it, pardon me.
3 possessions in 4 minutes. Charlie, I'm not a math major, but what does that lead us to? Let's see. Only 9 possessions for the quarter, 36 for the game.
Not too bad, huh? If you're a fan of offense, this is the game for you. Looks like Quentin McCrae's in the backfield as well for the Chargers. Lott hands it off up the middle to McCrae. Burst of speed up to about the 35, 34-yard line. Kendra Harrison holding his hand, walking off the field.
Definitely not a good sign for the home team. Let's hope it's just a minor tweak there.
Grimacing in pain. Chargers at the left hash. Lott drops back. Throws it complete left side to Steele Fletcher. First down, Providence Day, Steele Fletcher. A new player for the Chargers, son of NFL legend, and in my opinion, future Hall of Famer London Fletcher.
Heck of a linebacker. Long NFL career. And let's just say this. When your parents name you Steele, you know you're going to be a stud on the football field.
What a football name. Lott play action, has plenty of time, launches it over the middle of the field. That's complete. To number 17, Brendan Raven. Ball popped out. Could that be Crusaders' ball? Looks like it is. Second fumble of the quarter. Second fumble in as many possessions for the Chargers.
Charlie, you and I talked before the game about some keys. And one of the things, when you're a favorite, when you want to get off to a hot start, one of the biggest things I think Coach Greer is looking for tonight is a clean game. And a clean game is 0 turnovers, 1 maybe, 5-6 penalties or less. Unfortunately, we've coughed it up twice now in the first half of the first quarter.
Well, the official ruling did come in just now. It is Crusaders' ball. Too many turnovers. If you're right about what Coach Greer's saying. Defense coming out into the field. Messy game so far. 0-0 ball game. And this will now be, I believe, the 5th possession of the game. 3rd for the Crusaders. Chargers have had 2. An umbrella of coverage, and they still let up a throw deep downfield. It's Fonzie Smith racing up the middle of the field to the 25-yard line. Providence Day had 5 defensive backs, 2 corners, 3 safeties, and they still let up a gain of about 35 yards there.
The accuracy by Olkey on that in cut was beautiful.
It was impressive.
On time, on target. Like you mentioned, the window was small, and his accuracy was outstanding.
Fantastic stuff for the Wake Forest commit. Handoff left side. Oh, it's a fake. Olkey keeps it. Breaks a couple tackles inside the 25-yard line.
I don't love the eye discipline we had in our second level there. We had 2 guys go for the running back down the left side, and again, a great scheme by the visitors. They scheme away, handoff down the left side, and then give it to your best player. He's our best passer, but he's also probably our best running back. Olkey gets a gain of, 6, 7, 8 right there on the play.
He sure did. Gain of 7, 2nd and 3 at the 18-yard line. And one of the things that Coach Greer mentioned, he said he believes that Providence Day is the better team here. But he did admit Trinity Christian has some big play potential. Offside on David Sanders Jr., number 70. That'll push it forward another 5 yards. First down for the Crusaders.
Huge weekend for David Sanders. Charlie, you want to tell us about that?
Very big weekend. He is committing tomorrow at the MAC at 1 p.m. He's down to Tennessee, Ohio State, Nebraska, and the University of Georgia. Me being a Tennessee fan, I have my preferences, but I've known David for a long time, and I'll be happy wherever he goes.
He's an incredible young man. I got the joy of teaching him in my 9th grade health class a few years ago, and he had a small misstep right there, a little too excited to try to get a sack, but he is an incredible young man in the classroom and on the field. And, oh, by the way, just recorded a sack right there to make up for that penalty.
Well, he sure did. Bad snap there. Olkey, unlike Providence Day, recovers his own fumble. So that will, like you said, go down as a sack. 2nd and 17 now, back at the 20-yard line. Still technically inside the red zone. Crusaders in good scoring position here.
Boy, and we'd be remiss if we didn't say David Sanders, the reigning North Carolina Gatorade Player of the Year.
True.
I don't know how often that happens for a lineman. Such an incredible honor he received in that 23-24 season. And, oh, by the way, playing the entire season with a torn labrum. We can't wait to watch him now being fully healthy after that commitment tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Wherever he goes, he's going to make one college fan base incredibly happy. And again, I can't imagine, one of the top 5 players in the country. Some recruiting services have him as the number 1 player in the country. Overall, couldn't happen to a better young man, better family, better program.
Well, you're right about that. And how about playing all of last year, winning Mr. Football on, like you said, a torn labrum? Coach Greer told me that this might be the most excited that he's seen David to play football in a season. Senior year, you said he is one of the most highly recruited, highly sought-after players in the country and maybe ever in North Carolina. He's going to be fantastic wherever he goes.
Outstanding article run by the Charlotte Observer this week on David and his family. He's so grounded, so down to earth, so humble, and they just don't make him like that all the time anymore like they used to.
No, they don't. Olkey launching it right side, knocked away. Incredible coverage there by Brendan Raven to prevent a touchdown. Wow.
Brendan Raven's a heck of an athlete. I've watched him on the basketball court all of last year. A really high IQ kid on the gridiron and on the court there. Really athletic, great ball skills to obviously save the Chargers from giving up a touchdown.
That was fantastic. You said it. He also plays on the varsity basketball team. By the way, made it all the way to the state championship game last year. How about that?
Absolutely.
Olkey and Jackson in the backfield again. Jackson swaps side. Olkey rolling left. Looks like he's wanting Fonzie Smith to get open, but not in time as the Providence Day Chargers take him down right there. That's number 52, Matthew Hankins, the junior linebacker. And this is going to set up a tough 4th down and 22 from the 25-yard line. You're basically looking for a touchdown here if you're the Crusaders.
So this decision tells me we don't have a lot of confidence in our field goal kicker from after 30, 40 yards. It would be a 42-yard attempt right now. And on the flip side, it says, hey, if we're going to beat Providence Day, it's not going to be with field goals.
Yeah.
So we're not going to get down here that often. It's a tough shot, but let's go get it.
Let's go get it. Here's Zolke. Dropping back over the middle. Intercepted by Providence Day. That's number 3, Moses Poku Kankam. The junior defensive back and tight end. Coach Greer has been so complimentary of him and his summer. How about that?
Well, one of the coolest names in all of Charger Nation for sure. And I know he's pumped. I'm pumped for Moses for getting that pick. From the football point of view, I wonder if the coaches are going to say, hey, it's 4th and 20. Just knock that one down, and we get 20 yards of field possession. But he's running off saying, Coach, I got a pick. I can't give that one up.
Oh, yeah. Great job reading that throw over the middle. That was a tough pass by Elke. Probably not what Trinity Christian head coach Chuck Webster was looking for. Over the middle, this is Kendra Harrison rolling down the right sideline. Harrison tripped up, but not before he gets to the Trinity Christian side of the field up near the 45-yard line. What a play by Harrison.
Charlie, the hand is okay. He walked off a couple minutes ago. He said, Coach, don't worry about it. Just hand it to me. I'll get us 50 yards.
It must be okay. How about that? Coach Greer told me he needs to get Harrison involved early. No better way than that. Down the right sideline. Nice run right there by number 7, Quentin McCray. That's going to be a pickup of about 15 yards.
Going back to Harrison for a second here, Charlie. Some in Charger Nation may not know. Harrison came on board recently to Providence Day, the reigning Max Preps National Athlete of the Year.
Wow.
It seems like every other player we talk about isn't all conference, all region, all state. They are racking up national accolades. Harrison's going to fit in nicely playing that tight end spot to complement Ian Klein's ground game all year, to complement the plethora of receivers we have, and obviously Lott calling the shots.
Well, he sure will. One of the things that this Providence Day coaching staff has prioritized here in the last few weeks is that chemistry between Zaid Lott and Kendra Harrison. Lott launching deep downfield, a little bit outside of the outstretched hands of Gordon Sellers. That would have been their second big connection.
So here's my favorite Gordon Sellers story. I just had seen him on campus a couple years ago. We're up at another rival schools for a JV basketball game. Our varsity girls walk in the gym, and the second play of the game, he goes up for an alley-oop and flushes it. And I said, Who is this kid? And so it's no surprise that we'd be throwing deep because I don't know what his vertical is, but I know he has huge hops.
Second down and 10. Zaid Lott firing it right sideline, incomplete. He was looking for number 14, Steele Fletcher. That'll set up a third down and 10 for the Chargers. And we'll see what this offense can do. Coach Greer directing his team from the sidelines. You see Harrison on the left slot. Out wide is the senior wide receiver, Captain Jalen Himes. Harrison in motion. Handoff up the middle. That's Cooper, Caleb Cooper. He's not going to pick up the first down. It'll put Providence Day at about the 36-yard line. The Chargers kicker, Jacob Baggett, has a huge leg, but it looks like he's going to keep his offense out here. Tough decision if you're Coach Greer. Lott finds Himes, breaks a tackle. They're not going to catch him. Touchdown, Providence Day, and the Chargers draw first blood here in the opening game.
Charlie, no surprise at all that Coach Greer's going for it. 4th and 4, extreme confidence in his offense. He goes to single coverage down here on the bottom to Jalen Himes, who I think was maybe the forgotten man a year ago. Everybody talked about Channing all day. Everybody talked about Shipp all day, and rightfully so, as they each had 15 touchdowns. And then there was 10 for Himes, the quietest 10.
Oh, yeah. What a throw there by Lott. Great play by Jalen Himes. You know you're going to be a big part of the offense when your head coach compares you to Tyreek Hill.
If he puts your name in the same sentence as Tyreek Hill, that is an extreme compliment. One thing I want to come back to, Charlie, is before the touchdown, I like that Coach Greer put Caleb Cooper back in the game. Yes, he had an early mistake with the fumble down near the goal line, but obviously you want to build the young man's confidence up, puts him right back in the first quarter, has a key run to make it 4th and manageable short before the Himes touchdown.
Well, you said it. Coach Greer showing great confidence in his team and in his offense in particular. Leaving them out there on that 4th down play. Bringing Caleb Cooper out after his early fumble. This is going to be Jacob Baggett kicking it from his own 40-yard line. You can tell this coaching staff just loves this kid. He's got a big leg. Coach Greer said he can kick it through the back of the end zone. 7-0 Providence Day here early at Overcash Stadium. Perfect weather for the first game of the season. And Baggett does just that. Drills it through the back of the end zone onto the track. And the Crusaders will strut back onto the field after a turnover on downs, interception down deep into Providence Day territory.
Yeah, and despite giving up the touchdown, I think if you're Trinity Christian right now, you're sitting here saying, we belong. We belong. We've turned over Providence Day twice. Yes, they just put it in the end zone, but we've gotten a chance to move the ball across midfield. It's not like they've been 6 inches in a cloud of dust. They've had a couple nice deep throws. They've had a couple nice misdirections, moving the quarterback, Olkey, on the run. Let's see if they can keep it going on this drive.
Olkey, perfectly timed throw, but it's intercepted. Brendan Raven racing down the sideline. Touchdown, Providence Day. Brendan Raven with a pick 6 on the first defensive play since picking Olkey off the first time.
That's the one you dream about, Charlie. It doesn't get any easier than that. And if you're Olkey, you're saying, man, I threw a perfect pass, 7-yard out right there. Unfortunately, the receiver bobbled it. Great for Charger Nation. And I think that'll hopefully help everybody here exhale a little bit. We know we're the more dominant team. We know we're the better team, but that doesn't mean anything until the scoreboard starts heading that way, and that's a huge play for us.
Well, it sure is. I mean, that was a perfectly timed throw by Olkey. And I think it was Trey Herbert. It was either Trey Herbert or Zayden Watson that bobbled that pass right into the hands of Brendan Raven. 14-0 Chargers in a blink of an eye. At the 4-minute mark, it was 0-0. 2 touchdowns added to the board in the last 2 plays from scrimmage. And now this Crusaders offense and their defense is going to have to regroup and figure out a way to come back, climb back into this game.
I just think they want to get some points, right? When you're sitting up there staring at that 0 over and over and over, yes, you want to put 7 on the board, but I think it's really critical for them to get points, period, on this drive. And, again, try to get some momentum going for the visitors. We have got a whole bunch of passionate fans running in front of the booth here. Nice of them to give shout-outs to Charlie here. They want a picture with him. They want his autograph after the game.
Good to see my parents in the crowd.
And that may or may not have been Tyler Springer running by before your parents.
Okay.
There.
Good to see Charger Nation back at Overcash Stadium. The MAC overlooking us as well. Beautiful night here in Charlotte.
Well, and this game's a little bit of an anomaly. I was talking to the staff earlier this week, Charlie. This is week 0 in the high school football season. We're one of only 3 high school games being played in Charlotte tonight. And the Chargers staff said they haven't played in week 0 in about 6 or 7 years,
Wow.
I believe. And obviously some of our students are still on summer vacation, eagerly awaiting that first day of class on Tuesday.
Okie has plenty of time here. Pump fake. Rolling right. Delivers a dart to the sideline. I think it was out of bounds. Maybe not.
I think they ruled it a catch there, Charlie. And I'll
Did
tell
they
you what,
really?
I love Olkey's accuracy.
Mm-hmm.
Easy to see why he's a Wake Forest commit. Again, he's a solid athlete. He's not going to blow you away with his speed or maybe his arm strength, but his accuracy, the windows he's throwing the ball into against the Charger defense are small, and he's been very impressive.
And I just want to take a minute to talk about another impressive athlete for Trinity Christian, Zayden Watson. He plays football and basketball. He caught touchdowns last year. He ran for touchdowns. He threw a touchdown. He led the team in interceptions as Olkey rolls right and is going to fall forward for the first down. And Zayden Watson, he's not just a do-it-all guy on the football field, but on the basketball court. 9 points a game, 5 rebounds a game. Led his team in both assists and steals, and also three-point percentage. I mean, what can't this kid do?
Yeah, his break is called halftime. That's what his break is.
Who knows? He might do in the halftime performances, too. So the Crusaders have gotten momentum on just about all of their offensive possessions. Still no points on the board. Play action dropped left side by Fonzie Smith. On the left sideline, UNC Charlotte commit. He's another impressive athlete.
Well, and unfortunately, the play was dropped for the Crusaders on that play, but I've been impressed with how their offensive line and undersized offensive line is holding up.
Oh, yeah.
Providence Day has some maulers on the defensive line, on both lines for that matter, and overall, the Crusaders have held up thus far.
They sure have. They're giving Olkey, Jackson, and all this offense all that they can. Handoff up the middle, not much there for number 23, Amir Jackson. Starting running back tonight for Trinity Christian. He's had some good runs, but not quite there.
Well, and to your point, Charlie, Trinity Christian's going to have a hard time just lining up mano-a-mano saying we're going to shove it down your throat. Where they're going to have some success, if they're going to have success, is running it with misdirection with Olkey. So obviously they want to throw it, but again, they're not going to be able, their line's holding up in pass protection, but they're not going to be able to move our defensive line for 4, 6, 8, 10 yards on the ground.
That's a good point. 4 receivers for Olkey. Pick your poison. Harrison trying to take him down. Olkey stumbles back to the 15-yard line.
Well,
That's a loss of 27 yards.
And finally, the flag went down. Harrison got held once, held twice. There was a spin move, and then, yes, unfortunately for Olkey, he stumbled on the blue turf monster on the 20-yard line and went down, and we'll get credit for that sack right there and obviously decline the penalty, and I think that'll make it, 3rd and a mile or 4th and a mile?
4th and 30-something, maybe 40. We'll see, depending on the penalty. I think we would both assume that Coach Greer would elect to keep it 4th and probably about a third of the field.
They called a face mask on us. So obviously they didn't feel like there was holding at all on Harrison. Obviously I'm sitting a mile away and maybe didn't see it. And really a tough call because, again, it's 4th and a mile, and instead the Crusaders get first down at almost the midfield strike here. I'm sorry, it's not first down. It's from the point of infraction, and so it looks like it's going to be about 3rd and 5. My apology.
Well, I'm just going to go ahead and say this. If I'm Trinity Christian, you don't get a lot of second chances. This is one of them. 4th and 30-something versus 3rd and 4. I'd take 3rd and 4 every day of the week. Let's see what Olkey and this offense can do. And I think this is 4-down territory here early in the football game. But you don't want this to get out of hand. Olkey rolling left. Stops. Looks like he wants to run it. Nowhere to go. He's taken down inside his own 40-yard line. Does not look like there's any flags, so I think this one's going to hold up, knock on wood.
Charlie, I'm giving all the credit in the world to the Providence Day defensive coaching staff. They knew that play was coming. There were 2 linebackers and a corner sitting on that play, and obviously the quarterback, Olkey, rolled out left. There was nowhere to go at all. But again, to the casual eye, it looks like, oh, he lost 7 yards. I knew pre-snap right there. That's why this team is so well prepared, so well coached. They practice relentlessly, thoroughly, watch an insane amount of film throughout the week, and that's what makes the defensive coordinator feel good deep down right there.
Here's the punt. Rolling inside the 15-yard line. And I think it's going to stop at the 14. And that'll give way to this Chargers offense with a 2-touchdown cushion. Just 11 seconds left in the first quarter to come back out on the field. Crusaders defense already set to play. Coach Greer having a chat with his offense on the sideline. Taking their time as they can. Up 14. We'll get one last play before the end of the first quarter. 4 receivers, including big Kendra Harrison, who goes into motion right here. Handoff up the middle. Here's Caleb Cooper. Nice run there. That's going to set up a first down. Clock stops at 4 seconds. Looks like Coach Greer called a timeout. I guess not. Pardon me, the clock will run out at the end of the first quarter. 14-0 Providence Day. Offense back out on the field. They're cooking. Welcome back to Providence Day School for the start of quarter number 2. 14-0 Chargers. First down at their own 27. We just saw a big run there by Caleb Cooper. And how about this Providence Day offensive line holding up very well to start the game?
Yeah, we already talked about David Sanders, and rightfully so, but let's not forget about junior Leo Delaney, a 4-star national recruit in his own right, an extremely hard worker, according to Coach Greer, and someone who he says is in excellent shape. And then we've got Miles Funderburk. We already touched on him. All right, Coach says he may be the strongest kid he's ever coached. This has me feeling I could get 100 yards behind that line, Charlie.
Well, I think having those guys in front of you would give you the confidence that you need to do whatever you want. Jalen Himes on the screen pass there. Tyreek Hill-esque player, according to Coach Greer. 9-yard pickup. Handoff up the middle in front of that strong offensive line. It's Caleb Cooper again. First down, Providence Day. Chipping away at this football field up near the 40-yard line now.
So we talked about the line a little bit here, and just to piggyback that thought, let's not forget about sophomore tight end Griff Galloway, who's added 15 pounds of chiseled muscle. All right, he's also a national recruit, also the sack leader for the defensive side of the ball. I saw him with a beautiful block there at number 88 on the last play.
Top 50 recruit nationally in the sophomore class of 2027. Sellers into motion, out to the slot. Harrison gets the pass, breaks a tackle, or almost broke a tackle, to the 45-yard line.
Charlie, 6'6", 250.
Wow.
We've seen him in motion. We've seen him carry the ball. We've seen him catch a wide receiver screen right there. And again, if you're Coach Greer, you're just sitting there drooling saying, how do we get this Harrison kid the ball in countless ways?
Well, we've seen it in a couple different ways so far. Screen pass right there. We saw him get a sack that was called back by a penalty. Saw him get a deep pass over the middle. That went for about 50 yards. Here's Zaid Lott standing tall up near midfield. Lott, plenty of time up the middle. Jalen Himes, and it's dropped. Great throw there by Lott. But we're seeing some of that opening game jitters, per se, from Himes. He already caught a touchdown earlier in the game, though.
He may have been thinking about which dance he was going to do after being in the end zone.
Just
kidding here, but they had him. They had him on the deep post right down the middle there. He may have been looking at the safety out of the corner of his eye there.
For sure.
Unfortunately, a beautiful ball thrown by Lott. And again, you just hit him on the rear end and say, hey, we'll get it again in a couple plays here, no worries. But you hit the nail on the head. There's going to be jitters. There's going to be mistakes by both teams. And obviously, you just get back at it. And that's why you can window dress this in practice. You can watch it on film 1,000 times, but until the proverbial Friday night lights truly come on, that's when you get more comfortable.
Well, this Chargers team hasn't had a scrimmage with anyone else since June. Nice throw there left side. That was number 18, William McDermott, on the reception.
Lott's arm strength, really impressive. He threw that ball from the right hash mark all the way to McDermott on the far left sideline. One of the things Coach Mac Brown and company are ecstatic about, getting him with a visit to Chapel Hill in June, and he commits that day.
Oh, yeah. He's a wonderful football player. He has a big arm. Personally reminds me of Joe Milton, former Tennessee quarterback. You can see how that ends up.
Joe Milton has a cannon.
Oh,
yes. Yeah. I like that comp right there.
I asked Coach Greer about that. He stumbled for a second, but he goes, I don't know if he's Joe Milton. I mean, Joe Milton's thrown at 75, 80 yards. I think if you give Zaid 5, 6, 7 years, he may be doing 90. Who knows?
I love it. Joe Milton's going to need that arm strength playing up in Foxborough there.
Oh, he sure will. Rebuilding team up there in New England. Got a little bit spoiled with Tom Brady. Here goes Lott. Dancing up the middle of the field. Slides down at the 26.
Here's a small thing I want to point out right there, Charlie. How about the maturity of Lott?
Oh, yeah.
He pass fakes, and then he says, I'll take 6 yards, and then he slides. And he says, I want to live to play another day. I want to play all season. I want to stay healthy. That is a really mature play to give up yourself after 5 yards.
One that shows he's thinking. Here's a handoff left side. That's Quentin McCray. McCray and Cooper seem to be splitting touches out in the backfield with Ian Klein, one of the best running backs in the state, out for this game, getting ready for that game against Weddington.
How about Ian Klein recently committing to Army, West Point?
Good for him.
Again, incredible job serving our country and then also saying, I love football and get a chance to do that there as well.
Well, it'll be fun to see him in some of those Army-Navy games here in the coming years.
Coach Greer calls Ian the best running back in North Carolina. Hopefully we get to see him back.
Wide open there. Overthrown in the back of the end zone. That was Steele Fletcher. Just a little bit over the head of Fletcher. Great job by Steele, though, diving for that football. He was wide open, too.
Again, beautiful play design by Coach Greer. You're right. He was the only guy within 20 yards of the deep right corner pylon. Lott just threw it a hair too long. But again, getting that timing down early in the season, I'm extremely confident they'll get that cleaned up here.
As am I. You just love to see that these plays that are being drawn up by Coach Greer are working. He's scheming guys open. Right side down near the 20.
Coach has, my apologies,
Oh,
Charlie.
no, go ahead.
Coach has a reputation for being an offensive guru, and here's one thing he would be the first to say as a football coach, and I would be the first to say as a basketball coach. Plays are amazing, but it's awesome when you have great players. Those plays work a lot better as well, and this team is loaded with talent. Coach Greer told us earlier this week it might be the most talented team I've ever coached. Stop and think about that for a second, but yet very inexperienced. A lot of guys that were backup and role players are now coming into their own to be marquee stars this year.
And one of the things that Coach Greer said is that it's like putting a band together. Here's Caleb Cooper up near the middle of the field. And as I was mentioning, he said it's like if you had a great singer, you had a great guitarist, you had a great pianist, and you said go make a band. They wouldn't be very good, but you give them time, and they'd be one of the best bands you've ever heard. That's how he sees this team, and he's liked what he's seen throughout the summer. And I'm sure he's got to be happy with a 14-0 start here early in the second quarter. Some missed opportunities, but Providence Day is still down inside the 15-yard line. Here comes Lott. Handoff smoked. Oh, my goodness, Cooper throwing defenders to the ground. That's one of the most exciting gain of 2 yards that you'll ever see.
You took the words out of my mouth, and it was on 4th and 2.
Wow.
And so we used to say, Barry Sanders, that was the most exciting 1-yard run I'd ever seen. He dodged one linebacker, threw another one out of the way, and picked up a first down.
That was just a phenomenal play by Cooper. He's just a sophomore, too, so we'll be excited to see how he does in the coming years. End zone touchdown. Kendre Harrison threw the defender to the ground, and that's a mismatch that you just cannot go with if you're Trinity Christian.
Not fair, Charlie.
Not fair at all.
It was a total weight room play. Harrison, 6'6", 250. The young man covering him was about half that, and it was a total mismatch. The ball went up in the air. Harrison nudged him off a little bit, and it was an easy pitch and catch.
Well, it sure was. That's like a Victor Wembanyama, Isaiah Thomas jump ball. And if I'm Isaiah Thomas, I do not like those odds. Neither do I if I'm a Trinity Christian defender. Davis Dudley knocks it through the uprights, 21-0 Providence Day. And how about Kendre Harrison getting involved early? 3 receptions in the first half, including a 50-yarder, a screen pass, and a touchdown reception on a 50-50 ball that was more like 90-10.
This is my first time seeing him play football, period. He's as good as advertised. No, let me back up. He's better than advertised.
Oh, yeah.
And that's hard to say when you're the reigning Max Preps National Player of the Year.
And how about his basketball resume, too? We haven't even touched on that. One of the reasons that he's the player of the year and not just Mr. Football or the football player of the year is because he's a top 30 recruit in basketball as well, scoring near 30 or 20 points a game en route to a 29-0 state championship run for Reidsville, along with 15 rebounds per game and 4 blocks. You don't get much better than that.
No, and Coach Johnson's going to be ecstatic to add him to the mix for a team who returns the majority of their team last year that came up just short of cutting down the nets and claiming the state championship a year ago.
Well, we don't want to get too ahead of ourselves, but basketball season will be very fun once this football season is over. Short kick there. Picked up by Trinity Christian. Not much on the return. And Olkey in this offense will come out at about the 15-yard line.
The Chargers really starting to establish themselves now and obviously make their mark on this game on both ends of the ball. Again, I still like what Trinity Christian's been doing. They're just having a hard time stringing 2 or 3 positive plays together. You know, you get an out pattern for 7 yards or a run for 7 yards, but obviously it's going to be really difficult, like we talked about, to sustain the running game, and it's going to be hard to throw over the top. We haven't even mentioned yet Brennan Drummond, the safety, and who Coach called the quarterback of the defense, the heart and soul of the defense. And again, he's anchoring them, sitting at the 30-yard line right there, making sure nothing gets behind him.
Well, he sure is. Only a sophomore as well. Already has offers from Arkansas, Florida, Virginia Tech. Forcing the receiver out of bounds right there. That's number 2, Zayden Watson on the right sideline. Gain of 8. 2nd and 2. This Providence Day defense has playmakers wherever you want to look, whether that be offense, defensive players like David Sanders, Leo Delaney, Quentin McCrae, or defensive specialists like Drummond or like Cairo Skanes.
It's hard to find a weakness. It really is. And as long as the Chargers take care of the ball and be sound defensively, they're going to be incredibly difficult to beat this year.
Flags flying down. Olkey still running. Fumbles. Picked up by Providence Day. That's number 52. Matthew Hankins. He's made some plays here early. And barring a penalty, keeping this offense on the field, Providence Day will take over inside the 35-yard line. How about that?
And the referee just came over. It looks like we have the option to decline, and obviously will, because we want the ball. So the story of 2 quarterbacks. We talked earlier about Zaid Lott saying, hey, I'm going to slide after 5 yards, and I don't blame Olkey. They need to do anything they can to generate offense, generate a big play, but you saw him spin, get through a couple tackles, and then eventually the ball was a little bit loose and it coughed it up right there. Way to be opportunistic for Providence Day here to try to go up 4 scores.
Absolutely. Coach Greer having a chat with the offense as he has multiple times already. Got Fletcher and Himes on the right sideline, Sellers and Harrison on the left. Zaid Lott, Quentin McCrae in the backfield. Handoff left side. Here's Himes making some moves into the red zone down near the 15-yard line on the jet sweep.
You hit the nail on the head. How much do we love the jet sweep? The ball's on the right hash mark. Let's give it to one of our fastest players and say, I can get to that sideline quicker than any of you can.
Oh, yeah. Cannot beat the speed of Jalen Himes. And it gives Zaid Lott a lot of room to work with on that right side of the field. Trips to the right, Kendra Harrison, the lone man to the left. Lott rolling right, elects to run, takes a hit. And he's going to pick up a few yards there.
You know, all summer, Charlie, we've been asked, okay, what's the difference in Jaden Davis and Zaid Lott? Obviously, 2 incredible players. Jaden really loves staying in the pocket, and when he would scramble, he would primarily scramble to pass. And I've heard all summer from teammates and coaches, hey, Zaid likes to run the ball. He's a big running threat, which obviously is a dual threat. We need to keep him in one piece all year, and so there's a little give and take there.
Funny enough, Coach Greer did tell me that Zaid Lott is more of a pocket guy.
Oh,
but he mentioned
okay,
that he has some sneaky athleticism, and you're right, I have heard from multiple people that he does like to run the ball. Staying in the pocket here, launches it left side, a little bit too far from Himes. And that'll set up a 3rd down and 7 from the 14-yard line. No field goal attempts for the Chargers.
So as long as you mention field goal attempts, we may not mention this all night, Charlie. Doing some research this morning, the best stat I came across was Providence Day had 71 extra points a year ago and 3 field goal attempts all year. Let me repeat that. 71 extra point attempts and 3 field goal attempts. So to say the least, Coach Greer does not like the word field goal at all. So if they're within 20 yards, they're going for it.
Blitz on the right side. Lott flies out of the pocket, delivers incomplete to Harrison, and that'll set up a 4th down and 7. Funny enough, it looks like this offense is going to stay out on the field, or never mind. We jinxed it.
Hey, a third of the way to the season total of field goal attempts right here. And you know what? This is absolutely the right move. Not that anybody cares about my opinion, but you want to get your field goal kicker some confidence early on. Davis Dudley coming in because it could be next week at Bank of America Stadium. It could be down the road against Charlotte Christian, where you're going to be in a tight game and you want that kicker to have the confidence. So, outstanding move here.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this might be the best breaking news we have. We have a field goal attempt. It's Davis Dudley, the senior, drilling it right through the uprights. Coach Greer loves this kid. He said that Dudley has been locked in all summer long, razor-sharp mentality, and he was really complimentary of the kicking game in general.
Coaches love soccer players, and Dudley had a strong career as a soccer player for a long time. His dad, obviously, Dan Dudley, legendary Providence Day boys and girls soccer coach. And to your point, Coach Greer was raving. He said, we have 2 outstanding kickers. A lot of teams don't have one. We have 2 that have a couple different specialties.
Well, they sure do. And we'll see the other kicker right here, Jacob Baggett. Has a huge leg. It's like having different pitchers with different pitches that they can use. Baggett has a strong leg, can kick it from 50-plus yards. And Davis Dudley, if you give him any field goal, he's going to knock it right through the uprights. 24-0 Providence Day, still technically a 3-score game. But if Trinity Christian is going to get back in this game and have a chance at winning, they're going to need a lot more than that. 4:48 to go here in the second quarter. It's scary to think that we haven't even reached halftime.
It's not past my bedtime yet.
Not yet. Touchback called for the Crusaders. Still light out here in Providence Day School. This is an early game. Mid-August. Perfect weather.
The backdrop doesn't get any better.
It does not.
I mean, I pinch myself as a middle school physical education teacher. This field is my classroom for half the year, Charlie. Not too bad. And the other half of the year, that beautiful building over there, the Mozak Athletic Center, is my classroom. And then, of course, we get to roam the sidelines for some varsity girls basketball games as well. But we are so blessed with the facilities. Beautiful skyline tonight as well.
We'll be spending the majority of the time out here at Overcash Stadium for the next few months, and then we're going to roam into the MAC for Coach Springer's playhouse in there, his girls' varsity basketball team. I've got a legendary coach right beside me. Got some big seasons coming up for girls and boys basketball, as well as this boys football team that we have right in front of us.
Football team chasing a four-peat. Incredible. Won the last 3 NCISAA state titles, and there's no reason to believe they're not the favorite this year again as a top 50 national preseason ranking.
Is this too early to call it a dynasty?
No.
I don't think so either. If they get this 4th championship, it sure will be. Oki misfires over the middle of the field. And Watson is going to have to take the long walk to go grab that ball. Jog all the way back down to the 25-yard line, where the Crusaders will be faced with 3rd down and 5, down by 24 points. And I think one of the worst parts about this is they don't get the ball to start the second half. It's going straight to the Chargers.
And at this point, you have nothing to lose. You had nothing to lose when we kicked off, but now where the scoreboard is, it might sound crazy to go for it on fourth down if it gets to that from your own 25, but you're down 3 scores. You don't get the ball to start the second half. You're just looking for one spark play.
Nice toss there, right sideline. And that was number 4, Trey Herbert. Now, I believe it's a first down, but it looked like he fell backwards.
Well, he had it by 2 or 3 yards, and he did everything possible to almost give up the first
down.
But I think he was half a yard past the sticks.
That was pretty risky there by Herbert. I think Coach would not be happy if that meant his team had to go for it on fourth down.
One thing I've noticed in the first half, that 7-yard out pattern or 7-yard slant, it's been there. It's been there all night for Trinity Christian. The Charger corners are playing off the wide receivers, not giving up anything deep. But I think Olkey's hit on 4 or 5 of those already.
That'll be important for Providence Day and for Trinity Christian. For the rest of the season, a few big games coming up for the Chargers. Coach Greer mentioned that there's going to be some coaches in attendance. He acknowledged that some of the other high school teams are probably going to be scouting out this offense and the defense because there's a lot of new faces. So I think that'll definitely be something that Coach Greer will consider changing up his defensive schemes here in the next 6 days, short week before they head off to Bank of America Stadium.
For the second week in a row, and that's why playing in week 0 I think was so important. Play in front of the home crowd, knock out some kinks because, yes, next Thursday, not to get ahead of ourselves, we're playing at Bank of America Stadium once again against a really, really good Weddington team.
And how about that run right there by number 23, Amir Jackson? I want to go back to the Bank of America game. You said it's second year in a row that the Chargers will be playing in the Keep Pounding High School Classic. They played in the only game last year against Northwestern High School. This year there's 2 games. Myers Park versus Independence and Providence Day versus Weddington. Both of them, they're going to be fun games. Doubleheader on Thursday night.
I love to see it. We're still soliciting calls, emails to the boss at Providence Day. Dr. Kalshaw, if you're listening, students and teachers would love that 2-hour delay, that half day off on Friday. Come on, we're coming back from Bank of America at midnight, 1 in the morning.
That's right, late game as well. Kickoff is scheduled for around 8 p.m. And yeah, we've got school the next morning. How about that? Good morning, Providence Day, Friday morning, after a long night at the bank.
But you can't beat the opportunity. I mean,
no.
I can't imagine as a high school player being able to play in an NFL stadium not once, now 2 years in a row. And yes, it's phenomenal for these players and these coaches, but it's a monster win for the entire PD community. For a second grader and their family, for middle school kids, for alumni, it doesn't get any better than that.
And it shows just how dominant these Chargers have been in football and in athletics in general, as the referees move the ball back about 5 yards here. Coach Greer and the athletic department has really put together what we consider to be a dynasty in football. 3 straight state championships, like you mentioned, seeking out a 4th with a very good team again this year. But before we get to the game at Bank of America Stadium, we've still got over 2 quarters to go against this Trinity Christian offense. And what a throw there by Olkey, Elijah Olkey, to Trey Herbert. Trey Herbert's had some really nice plays today.
That was an impressive run after the catch, Charlie. It was 2nd and 13. He caught the ball at the 8-yard mark, split 2 defenders, and then just had the willpower to say, we got to have this first down. Great play by Herbert.
Coming into this game, a lot of people expected Fonzie Smith and Zayden Watson to be big factors, but I think Trey Herbert may have fallen under the radar. Olkey in pressure, rolls right, incomplete, looking for Herbert again. He had him, but it was a little bit off. That'll set up 2nd and 10 for this Crusaders offense. taking their time here with 2:37 to go in the half. Clock stopped after that incomplete pass. Are you going to be at the Bank of America game?
Does a one-legged duck swim in a circle? Without a doubt, Charlie. Front row.
I actually haven't heard that one before.
That's how you know I'm old. Old dad jokes. That's all I got for you.
You know. I think they're funny. Okie taking off there for a few yards. That'll be a great game. It was a great environment last year. For anyone watching this that plans to be at the game, make sure to wear red. We've got a red out against Weddington. It looked great last year. I think everybody had a wonderful time.
This could be the Christmas game. Weddington will be donning their green. We'll have the red out there. Defending private school state champs, defending public school champs, 2 Charlotte powerhouses at Bank of America. Can't wait.
You know what everybody always says? Christmas in August.
Amen.
Said nobody ever. Right side, there's Herbert again. Big gain there all the way down to the 20-yard line as this offense looks to get something going. Miles Funderburk, number 51. Coming back to the sideline. And this Crusader offense, they're taking their time now. I think they realize the importance of this drive and the upcoming defensive possession that's looming to start the second half. Fake to the left side. Okie running down the sidelines. And that's going to be a touchdown for the Crusaders. Elijah Okie with his first touchdown of the season. And it's on the ground.
Okie's really displayed his versatility this half. I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but again, his precision passing short game has been impressive, and he's got to have 6 or 7 carries for the visitors. And again, he's shiftier, he's more elusive than you think, and right there skated down the right sideline for the first score of the game for the Crusaders.
Well, he sure did. He led the team in rushing touchdowns last year with 9. Gets his first one right there. 24-6. Someone called a timeout. And how about this? Last season, Elijah Okie, 26 touchdowns, 3 interceptions in the air. Tonight, 0 touchdowns, already 2 interceptions. If he gets one more, that'll match his season total from last year.
I'll tell you what, that first number, 26 and 3, those are Aaron Rodgers type numbers Charlie. And growing up in Wisconsin, obviously he moved on to New York now, but if you take care of the ball as a quarterback, you give your team a phenomenal chance to win every night out.
You sure do. As they did a lot of last year, 10-2. We mentioned they were state championship runners-up. Or runner-up, pardon me. And despite the 2 interceptions, I think we've both been impressed by the way he's played here in the first half.
I'm extremely impressed. I don't know that he has a tremendous amount of help on the offensive end. And again, the Chargers have taken away Watson. They've taken away Fonzie Smith, and he's doing it himself, and he's pitching it to Herbert to keep them in the game.
A 2-man offense, and he's got a man wide open right there. That looked like Fonzie Smith, and it is for the 2-point conversion. And I mentioned it very briefly that it's still technically a 3-score game. Now with that 2-point conversion, it's a 2-score game. They're going to need 2 touchdowns and 2 converted 2-point conversions. That's a lot of 2s.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there, Charlie, but that was way too easy.
It sure was.
That was way too easy. They rolled out right, and again, the defensive coordinator for PD is not going to be thrilled, but they rolled out right, and Fonzie Smith is the only guy within 10 yards of the right pylon. It was pitch and catch right there like Logan and I playing catch 2 hours ago at home. I mean, I'm not sure what happened in our defensive breakdown, but that's not one the staff will be happy about at halftime.
How's your arm?
Sore. Tomorrow it'll be more sore.
Okay.
You know, you hit those mid-40s and – I don't recover nearly like a young buck like you.
Yeah. Well, I'm a very highly rated high school quarterback myself. So I know how it is to, toss the pigskin deep,
In Madden or EA Sports College Football 25, all of the above?
Madden.
You create yourself?
I sure do. And then I go outside, throw it 90 yards down the field, and it's the same thing.
I love it.
Squib kick there for Trinity Christian at the 20-yard line. Here's the return by Providence Day up to the 35. And it's going to set the Chargers up with really nice field position and still a minute 50 to work with. And I believe they have a couple timeouts. Actually, they have all three.
A minute 50, might as well say 6 hours and 12 minutes on the clock for this offense and this coaching staff.
That's a good point. Clock stops, I believe, after every first down. 3 timeouts remaining. Coach Greer having another pre-drive chat with this offense. And with Zaid Lott's arm, some of the playmaking abilities by Gordon Sellers, Jalen Himes, Kendra Harrison, unlimited opportunities. With a minute 50 to go. Lott getting pressured, steps into the throw, sideline, delivers it to Himes, and he steps out of bounds up at midfield. Clock stops with 1:44 to go, right at the 50-yard line.
Beautiful timing there. Nice 3-step drop, out pattern. The ball was perfectly placed. Step out of bounds, save your timeouts, just like you draw it up.
Perfect execution there by the offense. I'm sure Chad Greer is very happy with that. Three wide receivers to the left. Kendra Harrison, the lone man, to the right. Short pass, quick throw there to Kendra Harrison. It's a gain of about 6 or 7. Clock is temporarily stopped at 1:37. And I believe that's Caleb Cooper back there with Zaid Lott. Same formation as the previous play. 1:37 to go. And how about this? Providence Day already into Trinity Christian Field. Handoff up the middle to the right side. It's Caleb Cooper. Not a lot of yardage there. Clock still rolling. 3 timeouts remaining for Providence Day. Chargers taking their time because they know they have an incredible offense. Lott. Same formation, getting everything set. Drops back. Looks left side, fires it quickly to Himes. First down, Providence Day up to the 35-yard line. Coach Greer directing the offense like a maestro. And it looks like they do call their first timeout. 56 seconds to go. Still 2 remaining at the Trinity Christian 35-yard line.
Charlie, I'm putting on my defensive coordinator hat here. And who do you double? Oh, Harrison's wide open. It's one-on-one. Oh, Himes is wide open one-on-one. Oh, Sellers is over there one-on-one. Well, the old adage, you get 11, we get 11.
Yeah.
I can't double everybody out there, and so it just leaves the defense, and Providence Day does such a great job of making you cover sideline to sideline. You see trips left on the last play. You see Harrison down here just having the right side of the field to himself, obviously by design right there. And you sit there and say, okay, if I'm Zaid Lott, I'm just going to pick whichever guy gets singled up. He's going to win one-on-one, and that's where the ball's going. And that's a credit to him that I haven't seen him force the ball to any of these guys.
Oh, yeah.
If Harrison's open, he's getting it. If Himes is open, he's getting it. We hit the home run to Sellers over the top on the first play of the game. And then, oh, by the way, you throw in Cooper running down the gut. It makes it incredibly difficult defensively.
And we haven't even mentioned this offensive line giving the offense time to do what they need to do and execute all of these great plays that we're talking about. Lott drops back, running down the left sideline. Flag is down as he picks up the first down. Facing pressure. Good job by Zaid Lott. Escaping. We'll wait to see what this flag is. It looks like it's going to be holding on the Providence Day offensive line, and it'll take all that back. And then some.
Yeah, it's a shame because I'm a half mile away, but I thought the offensive player got inside the defender's shoulder pads there. Obviously, the man in stripes saw it differently, and it takes away a first down run by Lott, and instead it looks like we're going to have about 1st and 17, 1st and 18 here from the spot of the foul.
Still pretty solid field position. Pardon me. Crusaders 43-yard line. Providence Day is just zooming down the field. They've only taken up about a minute. And that's going to be a neutral zone infraction by Trinity Christian. Number 20, Paul Hayes Jr. tried to rush that blitz up the A-gap.
You're exactly right. Coach called a blitz for me. This is my one shining moment. We're going to catch him off guard. I'm coming right down the pipe in the A-gap. Oh, no. Free 5 yards.
It's like the 15 seconds of fame gone completely wrong there. Very loose coverage by Trinity Christian. Lott trying to escape. Down to about the 33. Still 2 timeouts for Providence Day, and Coach Greer signals for a timeout, 37-36. Clock is still rolling all the way down to 33 seconds at the 33-yard line.
One formational change there, Charlie. Most of the first half, we've had 4 wide receivers. Trips on one side, one on the other. There, we emptied the running back out just before the snap, which, of course, gave us 5 wide receivers, but it also only gave us 5 to protect. And I think our 5 are good enough to protect against just about anybody, but obviously you have one less guy to pick up a blitzer there, and Lott, I think, got us 2 or 3 yards on the play.
He sure did. 2nd and 8. At the 33-yard line, 33 seconds to go. You know, 1 deep hookup from Jalen Himes, and Zaid Lott could change this in an instant. So 33 seconds is plenty for this Chargers offense. Deep coverage again by the Crusaders. I think this is the time of the game where you just say, do not let up a touchdown. Lott. Quick fire over the middle, dropped by Himes again. That's the 2nd drop he's had of the half.
Yeah, really uncharacteristic. And again, This isn't someone who's in their first game. We talked about Himes, 500 yards a year ago. I believe 10 touchdowns. Obviously had a big year and will have a big year again for PD. Unfortunately, a couple missed opportunities for him tonight.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say I don't think he's going to drop many more passes for the rest of the year. I think 2 in the first half of the season is enough for him. I think he'll realize that, and I think Coach Greer will too. Here's Lott with McCray in the backfield. Fires, caught by Fletcher. Hard hit. Down at about the 11-yard line. William McDermott going to come in for Fletcher. What a throw by Lott.
What a throw, and how about Fletcher's eyes? Fletcher's eyes stayed on the ball the entire time. On the flip side, we've had 3 or 4 other instances where we've taken our eye off the ball and dropped passes this half.
No huddle offense. Lott looking, end zone. Harrison. Incomplete, just over the outstretched hands of Kendra Harrison. That leaves 9 seconds and 1 timeout left on the clock for Providence Day. Maybe time for 1, possibly 2 plays if they elect to go for it instead of kick a field goal.
Well, and like we said, this is what makes it difficult. You have Harrison singled up on the top, and obviously the defense wants to roll 2 guys to him. But there's trips on the bottom there, and so again, you can't roll your coverage and double everybody out there. I love the move of isolating Harrison on the top.
And how about the guys on the left side of the offense being Harrison and David Sanders? Lott looking right side. Was that caught? Bobbled it. But it looked like William McDermott came down with it, not at the end zone, though. Not quite to the goal line. It'll leave 4 seconds out for this offense. Maybe it was incomplete. I guess that's what the referees were saying. Us up here in the box, obviously, we're about a mile away from this. But it looked complete. And the field goal unit will come on. Here's Davis Dudley for his second attempt of the game. Knocks it right through. Nice way to end the half for Providence Day, 27-8. And I don't think you can ask for much better of a start scoreboard-wise for Providence Day.
Well, I just want to say, if Dudley hits one more field goal in the second half, that's going to be a season's worth of field goals on opening night
It
here
sure
at
will.
PD.
Great half by the kicking team. Great half by the offense and the defense. Just 8 points allowed to Providence Day's 27. We're going to take a little bit of a break before the second half, but before that, we want to shout out the Providence Day cheerleading team. They'll be doing a halftime routine. Taylor Hughes, Mia Sophia Magno, Tori Ricano, Lily Marquez, Lily Joy Linder, Kia Teresi, Leah Hauser, Asia Morton, Alana Wren, Lily Castle, and Aubrey Jacobs on that squad. What a great job they do. So we've got about 14 minutes until the start of the second half. 27-8. Providence Day leading Trinity Christian on a beautiful night here in Charlotte, North Carolina and Overcash Stadium. I'm Charlie Hitt, joined by Josh Springer. We're back for the start of the second half here at Providence Day School in Overcash Stadium. Chargers lead 27-8 over the Trinity Christian Crusaders. And although the scoreboard may look like it's been perfect per se for Providence Day, they've had some jitters. First game back after a long off season, but still a really great showing for the Chargers.
Yeah, overall, Coach Greer, I'm sure, was pleased with the first half, and yet in saying that, there's areas to improve. Improve the less penalties. Let's not put the ball on the ground. Let's try to catch it when it comes our way. But I thought we really had a diversified offense, got everybody involved, running it, and obviously pitching it to all of our targets.
Here's a nice return on the kickoff. And the Chargers offense will start up near the 40-yard line. Zaid Lott, Kendre Harrison, Jalen Himes, this high-powered offense that scored 20 points in the first half. The other 7 were via a pick 6 by Brendan Raven. And I think we're both impressed by the way Zaid Lott has played so far.
Absolutely. The first play of the game, great touch on a deep ball. He's had some crossing patterns. I want to see if they go back to Sellers here. Sellers was really quiet after the home run the first play of the game.
Good point. He has been pretty quiet after that 50-yard dime on the first play of the game. Fake handoff, Lott, designed run up the middle of the field. That's going to be about a 5-yard pickup. How about this for Providence Day? They are up near midfield after a great kick return, already setting themselves up in a great position to score on this drive. Second down and 5. Jalen Himes, the lone man, out near the right sideline in single coverage. Handoff up the middle. Number 28 for Providence Day, that's Caleb Cooper, taking it down the right sideline all the way inside the 30-yard line. He's had a really nice first half, and he carries that momentum here into the start of the second.
Well, and Charlie, I'm looking, we're too deep at every spot. You know, when Ian Klein gets healthy, obviously he's the bell cow, and when you can bring in a guy like Cooper to spell him, who runs with that same tough, hard-nosed mentality, and obviously we've talked about the bevy of receivers all over, it's a nice option to have.
It sure is, and Coach Greer has been using him well. Lott, handoff to Cooper again. Nice pickup there on first down.
I'm going to tell you, Griff Galloway led the way. He pulled right there, and he hit the defensive end right there and opened up a huge hole for Cooper. I know linemen hardly ever get talked about, or tight ends, unless there's a penalty on them. So we got to give them love and not just talk about the skill guys all night, right, Charlie?
Absolutely. Well, and I will say it's not that easy to leave out talking about the Providence Day offensive lineman, David Sanders, Leo Delaney on the O-line. Zaid Lott fires it left side. Touchdown for Gordon Sellers, and we just mentioned it. He's been quiet all throughout the late first quarter, second quarter as well. What a start for his second half.
Yeah, beautiful ball. On time, on target. Sellers beat his defender to the inside. Again, pitch and catch. He had half the field to work with. I consistently see this pattern of the Chargers overloading half the field and isolating the guy that they really want to throw to on the other half.
Extra point is good. Chargers go up 34-8. How about Gordon Sellers, top 120 recruit, according to ESPN, in the junior class of 2026. Easy slant route there and one-on-one coverage for the touchdown.
Well, and Charlie, you touched on Sellers there being a junior. Last year, this team was littered with seniors. Senior playmakers on both sides of the ball. Senior leadership. The first thing Coach sent us this week was only 8 seniors on this team. So, yes, David Sanders is a senior. Yes, several others. But the core of this team is sophomores and juniors, which is a really scary thought for opponents across the city and the state.
Well, it sure has. This Chargers athletic department has this team set up for long-term success. Coach Chad Greer told me about a year ago that this class of 2026 might be the deepest class that he's ever had. Gordon Sellers, a part of that. So is this kicker right here, Jacob Baggett. Short kick right there. Number 2, Zayden Watson down the right sideline, but he is blown up right there by number 4, Brennan Drummond, the sophomore quarterback of the defense.
This is what we're hoping not to see. We've got an injury for the home team here, and the A team of athletic trainers led by John Erb, Jackie Frisson, and Carly Mankin hustle out to the 20 there. Let's hope it's just a minor issue.
And that looks like it's number 3, Moses Poku Kankam. He's had a wonderful game so far. Picked off a pass in the first half. Coach Greer was singing his praises earlier this week. Good to see him walking off the field.
Just to piggyback what you said, Charlie, yeah, he said those junior Moses and also sophomore Trey Gathers, he said, have been 2 of the most pleasant surprises of the offseason, have been outstanding in the weight room. And that's a theme you hear over and over. Coach Greer very passionate about, like all strong football programs. This team is committed year-round to strength training, led by Evan Gates and Tim Mansfield now. They are, again, just committed year-round to getting bigger, faster, stronger, and you combine that with all the other talents they have, and it pays off on Friday nights.
Well, it sure does. And we're seeing that in the scoreboard right now, 34-8. Good to see Poku Kankam with some help by a couple teammates. Walking back over to the sideline, Coach Chad Greer there to greet him. First down and 10 for Elijah Olkey. And this Crusaders offense deep into their own side of the field at the 22-yard line. Herbert in motion. Olkey trying to escape, has a lot of room down the right sidelines, and he's going to pick up a first down. Great job by Olkey getting out of that pocket.
Yeah, that was impressive elusiveness. There were 2 Chargers in the pocket, as you mentioned, and normally quarterbacks don't escape that. Good on Olkey for escaping, and not only escaping, picking up a first down.
Well, it got pretty crowded up there, but in the end, he moves the chains up to the 35-yard line, taking their time now as the Crusaders break the huddle. Providence Day coming off a dominant 2023 season, which led to them winning their 3rd straight state championship. Trinity Christian also with a very impressive 2023 campaign, going 10-2, state championship runner-up in their conference. Nothing much on that run right there.
One of the things we haven't seen much from the Charger defense tonight is we've seen pretty much base defenses. We haven't seen a lot of blitzing, and obviously when you think you're better one-on-one, excuse me, there doesn't need to be a lot of gimmicks, but also I think we may be saving some of those tricks for Thursday night at Bank of America.
Well, Coach Greer acknowledged that. They might not use the entire playbook tonight, as Amir Jackson takes it to the right side for a few yards. And what an opportunity they have at Bank of America Stadium next Thursday.
Let's fill it up. 70,000.
Let's fill it up.
Lower bowl, upper bowl.
Seats open to the general public for any of those listening that would like to attend the game. 8 o'clock on Thursday night. Myers Park taking on Independence at 5. Doubleheader for the Keep Pounding Classic after Providence Day and Northwestern took possession of the sole slot last year.
Well, and you talk about value. I think it's $8, Charlie. I can't even buy lunch for $8 these days. And so to be able to go out to Bank of America Stadium, see the beautiful Charlotte skyline, to catch two phenomenal high school football games, if you're a gridiron junkie or if you just want to watch PD, obviously get out there early, do some tailgating, get a hot dog and a beverage, and obviously Chargers will be in full force donning that red at 8 o'clock at B of A.
They sure will. And all the fans will look to see this high-powered offense, high-powered defense as well. That will include Ian Klein next week. Our public address announcer, Lee Taylor, advertising the red shirts that are available online for all Providence Day fans in preparation for that game next Thursday.
There's nobody better than Lee Taylor.
There's
Nobody.
not.
The voice of the Chargers. Providence Day football, Providence Day basketball for a quarter century and then some. Let's not take it for granted.
Absolutely. Olkey rolling left, pressured by 3 Chargers, trying to escape, and he can't. He's swarmed by 5 defenders. Looks like Kendra Harrison, maybe Brennan Drummond. Number 7, Quentin McCray, all got in there for the sack.
How disheartening. You juke 2 defenders. It looked like Harrison and Skanes were both going for the strip 6, and so you dodge those 2, and then there's still a team party meeting you with 5 other guys taking you down.
Not the position you want to be in if you're a quarterback or if you're a team. And even better, it sets up 4th and 15. How about that? This kicking team for the Crusaders has had to punt it a couple times. Some short kickoffs so far. Went for a 2-point conversion on their only touchdown. This punt high and short. Fielded nicely up at midfield by number 28, Caleb Cooper. Providence Day's offense will take the field again, up with some great field position. 7:49 to go here in the third quarter. Lot. Misdirection here. Here's Steele Fletcher. Darts over to the left sideline. Inside the 40-yard line. That's a first down. How about a triple option for Zaid Lott there? And it's a jet sweep pass to the sophomore, Steele Fletcher.
Coach Greer said not very big, but fearless and electric with the ball in his hands. And again, whether you're 5'8" or 6'8" or anything in between, coaches just want you to play with the heart of a champion. And when you hear the coach describe you as fearless, that's a huge compliment.
It sure is. New addition to this Providence Day football team. Here's Jalen Himes on a jet sweep. Himes gets taken down inside the 30-yard line. Last year, he was a part of the running game briefly. Had 3 runs, 114 yards on just 3 attempts. He had a touchdown, which was a 77-yarder on the ground to go along with 10 receiving touchdowns.
I'm sorry, Charlie. I'm only an Xbox play caller, but we just went hard left on the run, hard right. I'm looking for a fake run, play action pass over the middle here. I'm looking for Harrison, tight end down the middle, right here.
Well, I'm counting on that. It is a run to the right side. Here's Quentin McCray. Down inside the 15. Not quite a pass up the middle, but a really nice gain nonetheless.
That's why I'm going to try my hand at broadcasting, and I'll leave the play calling to Coach Greer, because if you're getting 10, 15 yards a play, why change it on the ground?
Same play here. Very different result by Quentin McCray. Not much at all. Still stretching the sidelines. We've seen a couple plays down the right sideline, one down the left. 2nd and 10 for the Chargers after that run 4-0. I think one of the things that gets overlooked when you have a lot of talent in the receiving room and in tight ends is the run game for Providence Day. It's been on point tonight. Here's a screen pass, left side, Brendan Raven. That's a touchdown. He's second of the game, first on offense. He already had a defensive touchdown as well. 4th touchdown pass for Zaid Lott to as many receivers.
Outstanding execution there as, yes, Raven caught the ball. The ball was thrown on target, but the other 3 receivers on top had perfect blocks. I could have gone in from 15 yards away, and that's saying something. They made it look easy for Raven to just jot in.
Let's give some credit to Coach Greer, scheming guys open.
Well, and not just scheming guys open, but scheming multiple players open.
Oh, yeah.
One, that keeps everybody active, keeps everybody happy, keeps everybody involved. And 2, it makes it extremely difficult to defend, not just for tonight, but for opposing defensive coordinators moving forward, saying, who can we focus on when, like you said, Lott's thrown to 4 different guys for 4 touchdowns.
Davis Dudley, here's another playmaker for Providence Day, knocks it through the uprights. 41-8. This game's getting out of hand now. Impressive debut for Zaid Lott as the full-time starting quarterback. 4 touchdowns, no turnovers so far for him. And how about Brendan Raven? Pick 6 and a receiving touchdown.
All we need is the kick return for the touchdown to get the triumvirate.
We'll see if Coach Greer will let him do that. I doubt it, but that would be pretty cool.
I want to take a moment to say, heck of a crowd tonight, Charlie.
I
didn't know what it was going to look like. Obviously, we're still on summer technically, but we have got an outstanding crowd. The students showed up. PD parents showed up. PD community showed up. And again, why wouldn't you? It's going to be another phenomenal year for Providence Day football, and it all starts tonight.
It all starts tonight. That's the saying, and we'll look back on it if this is another successful season for Providence Day and say that it was the start of something special. Something special that, by the way, has been going on for 3 or 4 years now. 3-time state championships, back to back to back. Looking for that 4th number 1 finish. Touchback on the kickoff. 5:28 to go here in the 3rd quarter. 41-8. Providence Day leads Trinity Christian in what has become a blowout.
You know, I watched our defense just jog on the field right there. I see David Sanders. I see Griff Galloway. I see Miles Funderburk. Those are the 3 guys I just saw run on, and I sat there saying, so which one of them are you going to try and run at? Because none of those are going to end well.
And that's not even mentioning Leo Delaney and the rest of this defensive front. Some nationally sought-after guys on this Providence Day squad. A squad that, by the way, isn't returning the likes of Jaden Davis, Brody Barnhart, Jordan Shipp, Channing Goodwin, all going to Power 5 schools. Okie up the middle of the field. That's going to be about 8 yards on the pickup.
Well, and just to accentuate your point there, Brody Barnhart and his 109 tackles from a year ago. Also, Lucas St. Wire, Thor, the linebacker, 127 tackles from a year ago. Again, there's some big pieces of the puzzle from both sides of the ball now that have moved on to college. And a lot of these guys have said, hey, I want a bigger role. I want a bigger role. Well, now is your chance to have that bigger role.
This is that chance. Some big shoes to fill for this Providence Day defense. You mentioned Thor. Coach Greer told me that that's going to be a tough one. He said that linebacking team has got to step it up. They've been having a good summer so far, but it's going to be tough to replace some of those seniors that have moved on to college.
One of the guys that he thinks has a great shot is Justin Abenqua. All right, a fierce hitter, and he says a great smile. How about that one? Coach says you got $1 million smile. Like you, Charlie. You're going places there with it. All right?
Thank
and
you.
So good for Justin to having that shot at linebacker for making some noise in Thor's spot.
That's going to be important for Providence Day. Some of these underclassmen on the defense making an impact. They've done great so far, allowing just 8 points to a really, really good Trinity Christian team. Quarterback's going to Wake Forest. Wide receiver headed off to UNC Charlotte. Some other really talented guys on that offense. They've been shut down today.
Absolutely. You know, we called Herbert's name a lot in the first half. You can bet his name came up in the Providence Day locker room at halftime. And since Herbert's been shut down, the quarterback, Olkey's, had a tough time finding anyone else thus far in the second half. The Chargers have been probably a bit more focused and a bit more buttoned up in the second half than they were to start the game.
Here's Olkey. Flag comes down.
So we all know David Sanders is going to be playing on Saturdays, and I'm willing to say playing on Sundays. But when that career ends in 10, 20 years, whenever it is, he's got a gig in refereeing. He was the first one to call the penalty right there, and he would know. He's seen a lot of line play, good line play, shaky line play, and he had the flag out before anybody else.
He's got his eyes on the prize, and that's the quarterback. Sometimes the offensive line figures they need a head start on him. Olkey trying to avoid the pressure. Screen pass to the running back. He is absolutely blown up by that Providence Day defense. Amir Jackson had nowhere to go there.
Well, and strong business decision by Olkey, because Sanders was breathing down his neck, and if he held the ball another half second, he may have had half his body on the 10-yard line.
There's not a lot of will in my mind to take a hit from David Sanders.
No, thank you.
I think that's one of the things that I'd like the least, just in life in general. Olkey back there on 1st and 10. Amir Jackson didn't have much to do on that last play, but he did pick up a first down. Lavarion Peoples out there in the backfield. Delay of game called against Trinity Christian. And it looks like Coach Webster for the Crusaders is not happy with his offense.
Coach Webster, a man wearing many hats, also the athletic director role, head football coach role. Like at a lot of independent schools, these teachers, these coaches, these administrators, they wear many hats, and so he's juggling a lot, being the AD and serving as football coach down there in Fayetteville.
Shout out to him. Man of many talents, as are many of these players that are on the field right now. Got a lot of two-way guys out there. And I'm sure these referees are too. They're wearing the umpire hat right now.
And they just waved off the penalty. Must have had a clock malfunction is my guess there.
Olkey and Peoples still in the backfield. 5 wide receivers, pardon, 4. One goes to motion. Olkey slips, stays on his feet. And that may be a pickup of about half a yard on the run. Looked like he was about to get sacked, but got out of there nicely.
Yeah, I like what number 55, 6'1", 285 pounds, Charles eBay did right there. Again, as a nose tackle, you don't always get the sack. You don't always get the tackle for loss, but he forced Olkey outside of the pocket, and then his teammates cleaned up the mess.
Good for eBay there. Another new guy on this Providence Day squad. It has a lot of underclassmen. We mentioned only 8 seniors on this entire team. But Coach Greer has some high thoughts about this team and their talent level. The throw by Olkey is too low. He was pressured by David Sanders. And Fonzie Smith, could not get his arms under that. 3:01 to go here in the third quarter. 3rd down and 9 for Trinity Christian. This is a big play for the Crusaders, not necessarily for this game, but for the rest of the season. Seeing what can I do on 3rd and long if I need it. Trips out right, Pardon out left. Running back to the right side of Olkey. Olkey looking over the field. It is complete. Zayden Watson right over the head of Jalen Himes. Perfect throw there by Olkey. Nice catch by Watson.
By far the best play of the half for the visitors here. Chance to get a little momentum. They got that touchdown, snuck it in right before the half here. And again, just trying to make the score reasonable and respectable here. The Chargers are up 33. If they do hit that magical 40 number, I believe that's the running clock number in North Carolina for high school football. So again, obviously good momentum for the visitors here. Let's see if the Charger defense can stiffen here as we get closer to the red zone.
We're seeing Fonzie Smith out wide to the left side for Trinity Christian. He's a red zone threat if they want to get it down there. Olkey, screen to Smith. Smith avoids one defender but gets blown up after about a 5-yard gain by eBay.
Well, and great pursuit by eBay. He's a lineman, and he came down the field 7-8 yards to make that tackle.
Oh, yeah. How about that as eBay comes off the field? Chad Greer talking to his guys. Olkey back there with Lavarion Peoples. 3 receivers out to the right, 1 to the left. It's just Fonzie Smith. Olkey eyeing Smith, but he's double covered. Olkey rolls out right. Breaks a tackle, has plenty of room. Inside the 20, down to the 15, inside the 10, all the way into the end zone. And it looked like he stepped out of bounds right around the 5-yard line. He may not have thought so, but he sure did. What a run by Olkey.
I'm impressed with Olkey.
Wow.
I just keep sitting here saying, let's get him some more help. I am really impressed with Olkey. His composure, I thought Delaney was going to have him. Skanes was going to have him. And Olkey is just shifty. He just makes people miss, and you think he's going to go down, and all of a sudden, there's a 30-yard run right there, and it's 1st and goal from the 5.
Well, that Wake Forest coaching staff is going to love that athletic ability of Olkey. Scoreboard not very pretty, but he has had a pretty nice night. You said it, maybe not much help today as Lavarion Peoples takes it down to the 4-yard line, gain of about a yard.
I'll go back to what I said in the first half. That's just a token running play because it's going to be tough sledding if you're going to try and run the ball down the middle against PD. Again, with their line against our line. But sometimes you just do it to, again, try to keep the defense off balance. And now, okay, that was 1st down. Okay, great, we got a yard. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if they come back to that same play they scored on the 2-point conversion where they flooded the right side of the end zone and had an easy pitch and catch at the front pylon.
They very well could.
But as we showed earlier, Charlie, I'm a horrible play caller, so I'll just stick to calling what actually happens.
Absolutely. It's tough to predict these plays. Olkey, play action. Right through the hands of Jackson. That was a really nice opportunity by the Crusaders.
Good play design there. They faked the dive, and then they threw. And again, they flooded the right corner of the end zone there, and just a misfire, a rare misfire by Olkey tonight.
Third down and goal at the Providence Day 4-yard line. Amir Jackson back there with Olkey. fakes the handoff. Olkey cuts back to the middle of the field. Down at the 1 yard line, Miles Funderburk is hyped. Or actually, that was Charles eBay. Pardon me. So that'll set up a 4th and goal at the 1 yard line for Trinity Christian. Quarterback
no chance.
sneak. I don't think he got it.
No chance. I will say for the 6th time, you cannot attack Providence Day down the middle and expect success. I know they were trying to go with the quick snap, but Providence Day was ready for it. The defensive line was there. The goal line defense was there. The linebackers were in the A gaps. And, again, I think Trinity's had some success faking up the middle and then having Olkey get out on the edge, whether it's run or pass. But, honestly, I thought that play was doomed from the jump.
Well, it sure was. With those big bodies that Providence Day has on that defensive line, it's tough to get through them. It's like running through a brick wall. And it proves dividend there as the Chargers stop Trinity Christian on 4th and goal.
I see two guys standing on the sidelines, middle school coaches, Coach Davis, Coach Burnham. Talk about linemen. They were some stud linemen back in their day. All right, BD played here at Providence Day. Coach Burnham clogged up the gaps in college there with his son Remy Burnham on the line for the middle school team. And how about a shout-out to the JV team? 60-0 victors last night over Cannon School in their season opener and home opener. So the middle school program loaded with talent, loaded with elite coaching. JV program off to a phenomenal start this year. Cole Cater threw a couple touchdowns in the first half last night. Chase Bierman ran the Wildcat the second half. It's going to be a great year, not just for the varsity team, for the middle school JV guys as well.
Far throw to the right sideline by Lott. Himes came down with it, and it looks like he got a foot in bounds. What a catch by Himes.
Yeah, great play design. You're backed up in your own end zone. It looks like a wide receiver screen. They fake the wide receiver screen and then have Himes run right by, and they get a 10-yarder over the top. I think it could have been an even bigger play if the throw didn't force him out of bounds.
That was phenomenal. You said it. There was a lot of room to run for Himes, but I don't think Zaid Lott was expecting the Crusaders defender to fall onto the ground. Broken tackle there by Cooper. Up past the 20-yard line, first down run. Nearly a first down run, pardon me. Or I guess it was. First down Chargers at the 23-yard line. 12 seconds to go here in the third quarter, and the Chargers will wait it out until quarter number 4. 41-8. Providence Day back on offense when we resume.
Great job, guys. Appreciate all your efforts, Zach. A little bit. Hey, appreciate all your efforts, guys. Stay in this business.
Yes, sir.
Keep doing whatever you're passionate about. My wife went to Tennessee, so me too. I don't know. They say it's what a lot of the
Start of the fourth quarter here at Overcash Stadium. Zaid Lott in this offense still out on the field. Wide handoff to the left side there. Pickup of a few yards. What a game so far by Providence Day.
Yeah, I just think they've played a much cleaner second half. And obviously this is one thing you're trying to avoid, the big injury bug. I can't tell who it is, but we don't want anybody wearing a blue uniform or a white uniform for that matter tonight to walk away injured.
I believe that's the running back, Cooper. And it looks to be some cramps out there. Hopefully nothing more than just some late game cramping in the legs.
Get the Gatorade ready.
Oh, yeah.
He'll be all right.
He's had a wonderful game, too. I mean, he's had to carry a heavy load of this offense.
Absolutely. And, again, obviously with the comfortable lead, obviously we got to throw it all over the yard early on here. And looks like, is that number 7, Quentin McCray, I believe? So glad to see him walking off. Looks like just a little bit of cramps, and hopefully he'll be back quickly. But I think Coach Greer's really focused on the run game in the second half. It makes sense. You've seen Lott throw the ball all over the yard. You've seen the short passing game. You've seen the home runs. You've seen Harrison get involved. You've seen Sellers get the ball deep. You've seen Himes over the middle. I think he's seen a wealth of diversified offense here, and I think you're just going to see, and just as I say this, see a bunch of runs this quarter. We're lined up in 4 wide to chuck it.
Zone coverage for the Crusaders. Quick throw to the right side. Harrison throwing down bodies on the defense. Kendra Harrison takes it up near midfield. What a debut he's had.
I'm old, but can somebody cue the music, Pinball Wizard? Because I know that's an old guy reference here, but he just pinged off of about 5 Crusader defenders to pick up an extra 6 yards.
Well, he sure did. And there's a reason that he is ranked the number 3 player in the country by ESPN in his class, the junior class of 2026. Number 1 tight end nationally. He's been fantastic. And he's only been enrolled at Providence Day for just a few weeks now.
His versatility just jumps off the screen at you.
Lott drops back, plenty of time. He's got a man wide open, trotting down the sideline. That's number 16, Max Castle. Touchdown Chargers. He was wide open. What a play by the sophomore.
And a new name, and another target, and another receiver to worry about. And I chuckled a little bit. Coach Greer said to us this week, I really think we have 8 guys, 8 playmakers who are dynamic in the receiver spots. And I thought, boy, that's a lot of names. And then you start going through them, and you see McDermott, Barnes, Castle, Raven, Sodoma, again, Sellers, Himes, so on and so forth. And we may or may not have a receiver that goes for 1,100 yards and 15 touchdowns like Shipp did, like Goodwin did. But obviously you can see Harrison's going to get the lion's share, and we just have a plethora, an embarrassment of riches at the wide receiver spot.
Well, we sure do. Davis Studley knocks through the extra point, 48-8 now. And I think, like what you were saying, the depth at the wide receiver room, it could become a much-needed advantage. Or I don't know about much-needed, but it could be a big-time advantage for Providence Day when you face these tougher opponents, Weddington, Charlotte Catholic, Charlotte Christian, keeping some fresh legs out on the field.
I love what you said. There's a lot of teams that can line up their ones, but a lot of times the ones get tired in the second half and then fatigue sets in. And you see a diversified attack and being able to have balance. Can we run the ball when we need to? We've shown that. Can we throw it when we need to? We've seen that. And when you watch a lot of high school football, you see teams that are 90% run dominant or 90% air raid, air attack. And, again, Coach Greer has done a really nice job of balancing the table today.
He sure has. 5 passing touchdowns for Zaid Lott. No interceptions. 5 different receivers catching a touchdown pass tonight.
Remember at the start of the game when we said he had 26 pass attempts a year ago and we thought he would eclipse that tonight? Not a bad opening debut as a starter, 5 touchdowns. And I would say equally as impressive, 0 picks, 0 fumbles. In other words, 0 giveaways and mistakes.
Well, the mistakes are going to be there, but the turnovers, like you mentioned, the biggest part of that. 5 more touchdowns than turnovers for Lott. What a fantastic debut for Providence Day's newest QB weapon.
I want to take a moment here, Charlie, and give a shout-out to a couple good friends of mine who are on the sidelines over there at Fayetteville Christian. Don Gardner, double duty, girls basketball coach and as an assistant serving for the football team. And Charles Tubbs, Charles is a girls basketball coach and on the sidelines for football. Don Gardner, Hall of Famer, also on the girls basketball sidelines. Just want to give them a shout-out. Have been great friends with them here in the NCISAA. And, again, kudos to Fayetteville Christian for coming in here to Providence Day to play. You know when you schedule this game, it's going to be a tough one to go home with a W with. But guess what? Your team's going to learn a lot, and even though they're probably going home with a loss, this will help them immensely for a run for a state title, which is what they're after, just like Providence Day is after.
100%. We'll be interested to see how Trinity Christian ends up doing this season. Interestingly enough, it was the Crusaders that scheduled the game against Providence Day.
It takes two to tango, as they say, but I will tell you, having been in this business 27 years, it can be hard to schedule. And it can be really hard to schedule when you're where the Chargers are, because a lot of folks don't want to schedule any game that they might lose. Well, again, when you schedule this game, you know it's probably not going to go well on the scoreboard for you, but there's a lot of great wins in terms of building your season, building your program that can come away from it. And how about both teams like Weddington and PD next week saying, hey, 2 heavyweights, let's get after it. Let's get in the ring and get after it. And then obviously you look down the Charger schedule the rest of the way. Don't sleep on Charlotte Christian down the road. They returned the bulk of their team from a year ago, and they took Providence Day to the wire in the semifinals in a game that we won 45-37, and obviously Rabun Gap once again. We beat them in the state championship a year ago with a heroic ending the last couple minutes there, and obviously it won't be any easier this year as they have reloaded. We're going to Rabun Gap on October 18th.
Rabun Gap always seems to be the team to beat besides Providence Day, at least here in the past couple years. Obviously, Charlotte Christian and Charlotte Catholic are going to be there as well. But how about those last couple games against Rabun Gap last year? Deep throw there by Oki. A little bit far outside of the outstretched hands of Trey Herbert. We missed a really nice catch a couple minutes ago by Fonzie Smith down the left sideline that got Trinity Christian set up with this great field position. Oki's had some nice throws. Fonzie Smith has had some nice plays. The scoreboard doesn't really tell the full story of how this game's unfolded.
Apologies to Fonzie right there. Got running my mouth, which is nothing new for those of you that know me, and glad Charlie was there to give you your credit.
Here comes Oki on this offense. 4 receivers out wide, 2 to the left, 2 to the right. 1 receiver in motion. Oki escapes the pressure. He's going to run. Takes off for about 9 yards. It'll set them up with a good 3rd and short opportunity. Let's see if they'll go with the same. 2 to the left. 2 to the right. 1 running back in the backfield.
Looks like the Chargers have gotten a couple of their number 2s in and number 3s in. And again, developing depth is critical because the sad reality is injuries happen, right? Illnesses happen. And so you want to be able to go, 1s and 2s on offense and on defense and getting these guys real reps so they have the confidence next week to come in, whether it's for 2 plays or 32 plays.
Oki runs right into more pressure, somehow got away from that, and actually ended up picking up yardage taken down by number 54, Jaden Owender, though, by Providence Day.
I didn't know if we were getting him down. It looked like we were going to have a team party at Oki right there. And again, I want to know how many tackles he has escaped. I think he's caused 10, 12 missed tackles tonight. Now, obviously, he's been brought down countless times, and eventually when the 5th, 6th guy gets to you, you're going down. And, again, good for the Chargers to bring him down. I think I'd like to see our tackling get cleaned up a little bit and get him on the first hit, get him on the second hit, because we won't always have 4 or 5 chances.
One of the things that Coach Greer mentioned is that the biggest improvement by a team as Olkey coughs the ball up, and it's recovered by Providence Day, number 20, Chase Bierman. How about that, returning the favor of those 2 fumbles by the Chargers there in the first quarter?
Johnny on the spot, Chase Bierman. Are they going to give it to the Chargers here?
There was a chance that Olkey had his knee down when he recovered the fumble the first time around.
Oh, bummer. See, and obviously Fayetteville Christian keeping the offense on the field. It's their ball. I'm pulling hard for Chase. He's a neighbor of mine, amazing kid and family. Almost got the scoop and score right there.
Almost. He got close. Good play nonetheless, and it's going to set up a tough 4th and 6 for Trinity Christian. Olkey coughs it up again. This one looks like it's going Providence Day's direction. Brendan Drummond sure thinks so. And it is Chargers ball. Griff Galloway got a hand on that one.
One way or another, it was going to be ours because it was 4th and 6, and that's the second time on 4th down now we've forced a true turnover. We had the pick earlier in the game, and now the fumble there where, again, the Charger defensive line is having a party at the quarterback these last 3-4 plays.
They sure are. Party at the sideline now. Team very excited about what just occurred. Scoreboard agrees with them, 48-8.
And since it is 48-8, folks, again, we have the running clock rule, and so these last 6 minutes are going to tick off extremely quickly. The clock continued to run even through that change of possession.
Zaid Lott, the starting quarterback, still out there. Launching it to Steele Fletcher. Hard hit there. That's the second or third hard hit that Fletcher has taken. Son of a hard-hitting NFL linebacker, London Fletcher. Nice throw there by Lott. Good execution by Fletcher. Cooper in the backfield, low snap there. Lott coughs it up. Trying to dive on it. It doesn't look like he's going to be able to. Ball still loose. Who's got it? And can't tell yet. Looks to be Chargers ball. How about that?
Really fortunate right there, but kudos to Lott. We're up 40 points. We're going to win the game. He makes a mistake, but he was determined not to let that Trinity Christian lineman pick it up, because I thought for sure there's no way we're ending up with that. And he didn't scoop it at the end, but he kept it alive so a teammate could make a play and fall on it.
Really nice job there, like you said, by Zaid Lott. Keeping that perfect turnover.
I spoke too soon, didn't I?
We're keeping it for now. Barring an interception or a fumble right here. Nice throw over the middle. Good move there by number 12, A.J. Barnes, darting down the sideline. Barnes takes it inside the 5-yard line. How about that? Providence Day still attacking, up by 40 points here in the fourth quarter.
And again, Charlie, another weapon. That's the first time we've called A.J. Barnes' name all night. And, oh, by the way, he just reeled in a 40-yard catch.
Can't ask for a lot more. Kendra Harrison supporting his team from the sideline. He looks hyped. A lot of these starters still staying out on the field. We see William McDermott, Steele Fletcher. Out on the left sideline, Lott trying to take it into the end zone. Falls backwards. That's a touchdown. Zaid Lott on the design run accounts for his 6th touchdown of the afternoon.
I actually think that was supposed to be a handoff there to, Caleb Cooper. And you could see Coach Greer's probably thought process is, all right, he's carried the mail all night long. Let's get him a touchdown. Unfortunately, we had a little miscommunication between Lott and Cooper. And Lott said, hey, all's well that ends well. We got 6 more on the board.
Funny enough, Zaid Lott does not look happy right now after rushing in a touchdown. Like you mentioned, it looked like he handed it off to the wrong side, or was trying to hand it off to the wrong side. Still got 6 points there. How about that? And one of the Trinity Christian players jumped it on that left sideline. Pardon, on the left edge, trying to block that kick. Jacob Baggett doing the place kicking now. We're at just about 3 minutes to go here at Providence Day School. 54-8. Trying to make it 55. And he sure does. Dominating performance so far by Providence Day.
I just want to know who caught the kick. That's one of my favorite things to watch is the 25 middle schoolers on the track fighting over who's going to catch the extra point after it goes through the uprights.
When you've got a guy that has a huge leg like Jacob Baggett, there's a lot of running that's going to have to be done to get under that ball.
Well, and we've given them a lot of opportunities. When you put 55 on the board, what is that? 8 touchdowns there. 7 touchdowns with our field goals. We've had a lot of opportunities for fan appreciation night. Go catch that pigskin in lane 3.
Someone's got to catch it, right?
Amen.
So about a minute of game time has been taken off the clock since our last play. Maybe a little bit more, actually. We're nearing the end of this game. Really, really impressive by this offense and the defense as well. 6 touchdowns to 0 turnovers for Providence Day's newest starting quarterback is very impressive, obviously. Somehow, Zayden Watson got out of there.
After a friendly fire. He ran into one of his own blockers, and that's just what he needed to scoop up 5 more.
Well, you're right about that. Just how they drew it up, right?
Amen.
This is the classic run into your own player. I'm sure they spent a lot of time practicing that, huh? Really nice way to start off the season for Providence Day. Couldn't have asked for a more beautiful night than this evening. Olkey still out on the field. Pass is tipped and incomplete. There are about 4 Chargers right there just waiting to get their hands on the ball as one of the receivers for Trinity Christian is down holding his head. It's not what you want to see.
Now, again, we all know injuries are a part of sports, and yes, they're a part of football. And, again, whether you win or whether you come up short, you want every young man to be able to walk off the field healthy to continue enjoy doing what they love to do. Again, with this being where we at, August, 16th today, these young men on both sides, they've been going through blood, sweat, tears, 100-degree weather all summer, and they finally get a chance to play on Friday night lights. That's a lot of practices, a lot of weight room sessions, a lot of banging against your teammates in pads here. And, again, hope the young man from Fayetteville's okay.
Well, we're hoping he's all right. Got a really nice training staff surrounding him. Pulled up off the ground, and it looks like Zayden Watson, who has had a fantastic night, is going to walk off the field under his own power. As the clock runs down, here at Overcash Stadium. Providence Day takes game 1 against Trinity Christian, 55-8, in an impressive showing for a really new team, a young team. Coach Greer called them inexperienced but very, very talented, one of the most talented he's ever had. Great way to start off the new season.
Yeah, there's a lot to be excited about here at Charger Nation. Again, some old faces, some new faces. Again, it's going to be a fantastic year here at Providence Day, folks. Get out and see this team in action. Get behind them. Everybody loves to support a winning championship program. Bank of America Stadium, Thursday night against Weddington, 8 o'clock. I can't guarantee a lot, but I'm willing to bet the score will be closer than tonight. They are 2 heavyweights, 2 defending state champion teams. And what better way to have a measuring stick early on in the season than against a crosstown rival like Weddington?
100%. We are looking forward to that game. The clock is ticking. Under a week, and in under 24 hours, David Sanders, one of the key players for Providence Day, is going to announce his college commitment here on campus. All are welcome to that. And like Coach Springer said, let's all show up to Bank of America Stadium next Thursday night, red out against Weddington. What a fantastic matchup that'll be. Great game this evening on a beautiful night here in Charlotte. I'm Charlie Hitt, joined alongside Coach Springer. Thank you for listening.